Did I miss anybody? Okay. All right. I'm going to turn it over to Coach here, and we'll get started. Hang on. I'm going to turn my Outlook off so it doesn't ding. Okay, Coach, hop in.
Merry Christmas.
Eric, I need permission real quick.
Who was that?
I need permission to record.
Who was that?
Evan.
Evan, how did I miss you? Got it.
Merry Christmas, everybody. It's unfortunate that we have to see each other. Not really, just kidding. Little Christmas humor. Lauren, I like the sweater. I'd like to know how old that is.
I'm gonna guess maybe, let's see, maybe 40 years.
Awesome. That makes my day right there.
It could be 30 and it could be 50.
I love it. No, it's obviously a different year with COVID, and I'm really excited that the Big Ten coaches chose to take this opportunity for the safety and health of our student athletes to not travel. We all know that it's very challenging times. This is a time of everybody's blessings and the ability to be with their family and enjoy that. This year, this is our family, and we're going to do what we love to do, and that's play basketball. And our guys voted on that in the fall when this was brought up by the Big Ten coaches in our meetings, and obviously games going today. But for our guys, this is very unusual. For me, this is not as unusual. I mean, back in my day, we never had Christmas off. So we were usually about this time on our way to our second practice. But again, times are different, and it is a very, very memorable moment, I hope, for our guys, that they'll remember 2020, not just for all the complications that come with COVID and have come, and the sacrifice, but that it wasn't a positive in there, and that was they got to spend Christmas with a lot of very close friends and teammates and people who care about them a great deal.
Go ahead, Scott. Get started.
Okay. I guess just looking at Indiana, Brad, Trace Jackson Davis's usage is up considerably. Just what does that mean, just in terms of maybe how they operate when they're maybe running more things through him?
Yeah, it means, I think Archie's a terrific coach and put a very, very good player in a lot of situations that are where he can be successful. I think he's one of the most efficient players in the country, if not, pushing guards. He's right there. He's drawing a ton of fouls. So they're running offense through him, and he does it on the block. He does it away from the basket. They run a lot of dribble handoffs with him and put him in action. So it's when you've got a big who can do those things, and as versatile as he is, he's shown great range out to 17 feet. He's improved in that area. So again, that makes everybody better, and he's obviously one of the best in the country.
Then with Io, just 3 free throw attempts at Rutgers and then 11 the other night at Penn State. Was there just a reminder of him? It was like, attack the basket, get fouled. That's kind of your bread and butter? Well,
that's the closer in him. I mean, that's the closer that we have in terms of being able to, we got them in the bonus early in that half, and then you can give the ball to Io. And, he's probably as good a finisher as there is in college basketball at the rim. His increased athleticism, his strength, his size, it's almost 6'6". And then, he draws a lot of fouls, and that's a nice option to have to close a game. And there was, we started doing that with 12 minutes to go. So That's why he erupts for such a big second half.
Thank you.
Hey, Brad, obviously we saw Jacob get going the other night, and a lot of it was hustle plays, effort plays, and for you as a coach to see a guy get going just by working hard like that and getting those 50-50 balls, I mean, that kind of seems like what you've been talking about with your culture for 4 years now.
That's it. And it's amazing. He didn't accept blockouts. He's got extreme quickness. What people don't realize is how quick twitch Jacob is, and he just goes. And there's two of my favorite plays in terms of going to offensive glass where he gets blocked out, and he just is unrelenting. One of them he doesn't get, but it allowed Georgie to get it. And that's the type of effort that we've got to have and that he gives us. And we know he's an outstanding shooter, and he got a clean look and made that. And then you put that with his rebounding, and that's the one area where he was really, really impressive last year in his sit-out year was on the glass. And we know he can do that at a high clip.
And for him, he talked about those plays being contagious. And, obviously in the first part, you talked after games about not getting 50-50 balls in specific games this year. But is there a contagious effect when, you have your 7th, 8th, whatever guy off the bench coming in and getting those?
Yeah, and it's amazing how demoralizing those plays are for the other team. And that's the we want that to be the norm, but we also want it to be demoralizing for the other team. And that's why we try to practice that way every day and let it become the norm. DeMonte Williams made 2 big plays to start the second half. And then again, and now everybody's jumping into the picture. And, we had Kofi lay out for a loose ball in the first half. And then we've got, Trent taking charges and that becomes part of who we are. And that's got to be a consistent theme every single game.
Thanks, Brad.
Coach, when you came, you talked, I think, at your opening press conference about scoring within 7 seconds, and you brought that up again the other night after the game at Penn State. Why is this team so good at that, and how important is that for you to score that quick?
Well, we practice at one. We practice with great pace. We practice playing fast, and the reality is that it's literally analytics. It's the best opportunity to score. Because the defense isn't set. They're matched up, or they're a little bit slow back in transition. And all we're asking our guys to do is to really run the floor really hard. And we want threes, we want layups, or we want free throws. And the other night was a little bit misleading because part of Penn State's scheme and with their 1-2-2 press is to slow you down. And yet we scored 17 points against that press. And that took away a little bit of the 7 seconds, but we had 17 points we had 17 points under 7 seconds and then 17 points against the press. So you start putting that together and all of a sudden there's your 34. And we knocked them completely out of the press because we were in attack mode against it.
What makes this team? Is it Curbelo? Is it Ayo getting in going? Well, what makes this team so good at it?
We were 97th percentile last year in transition, and Ayo was number 3 in the country. We scored 657 points last year in transition, and we were number 3 Ayo was number 3 in the country. It takes everybody. It takes pitch aheads, Trent pitching the ball ahead. It takes Kofi rim run and Georgie rim run. It's not a singular person. It takes 5 people to do it. And if you're going to do it, you got to have everybody committed and all in on it. And then we practice that.
Thank you.
Hey, Brad, Merry Christmas. They were showing last night the Nick Anderson shot game against Indiana. That was maybe the peak of this rivalry, and wondering if there's a little extra juice because it's Indiana, or if it's kind of next opponent up.
No, I mean, I think we understand who Indiana is and who Indiana has been, and the history of that program and the understanding of the rivalry. I understand it probably much more than our players do. we know we're getting a very good basketball team with a great player and a great history and tradition. And our veterans have made sure they told our guys about the hard fought game it was last year, and not expecting anything different.
What's a little bit of the scout on Indiana? What's the challenge they present?
I mean, they're good. They've got veteran guards, and they've been shooting it. They're playing a little bit smaller, with Thompson and Trace Jackson, and he's a load. He makes everybody better. They're a team that gets to the foul line a lot, and we've got to make sure we avoid that. But again, I think that as Archie's teams always are, they're great defensively. They're very sound, and we've got to be ball tough and strong and execute.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, Brad. Before the Penn State game, you talked about you guys not fouling, and then Penn State only got to the free throw line 7 times. So what'd you see out of your team defensively that was maybe improved?
Well, I think we were better in a lot of areas. I think we were less handsy. I think we had a couple that we just put them on there. I think we had a couple that, I liked us. We bodied up and on drives. I'm not going to get completely bought into all of it. They took a ton of threes, and they don't have tremendous low post thrust. But again, I thought we were just better in understanding guarding the ball, not fouling it, and that's a great start.
And speaking of the low post, you've kind of mentioned it, but Indiana's the first team that plays 2 kind of back to the basket bigs that you guys have seen this year. So what do you need to see out of your 4s in a matchup where they might be undersized?
Yeah, I mean, and Thompson's as versatile as there is. Thompson's a guy that'll shoot a lot of threes and play out on the perimeter. They do a lot of high-low stuff. So those guys are versatile. They can all score on the block. We've got to be solid in our post defense. They run a lot of cross screening action. They do a lot trying to get Trace the ball. And again, yet it's an emphasis of maybe a couple of their best players are interior guys. And, we've seen a lot of guard oriented stuff to this point. So we'll have to be very dialed in and very conscious of facing 2 great players.
Thanks.
Brad, I'll ask a question you kind of asked in jest after the Penn State win, which was, where are all the rock fights in the Big Ten? And understand, I'm not complaining, but you've got 7 teams in this league that are in the top 20 in offensive efficiency, according to KenPom. So what do you feel like? I know you don't like comparing year to year, but what do you feel like is the difference between teams being able to score a lot more in this league this year?
I don't know. I got 42-42 at half, Michigan State and Wisconsin. Are you kidding me? Again, it's old players. It's experience. It's I think we're following as all of college basketball does. We somewhat follow the NBA in terms of I don't want to call it modernizing, but utilizing things, doing things differently. I think it's we're starting to see the full effect of the line being moved back and people more comfortable and shooting it at a higher percentage. I think officiating, the changes have been made in officiating over the years. Everybody's getting acclimated and understanding. And I think it's a combination of everything.
Thanks, Brad.
Hi, Coach. Merry Christmas. Slow starts seem to be a thing, the last few games. Is there something that you do to address that in practice, or is it a game day thing, or is it just a matter of being focused when the game starts?
Yeah, I don't know. We got off to a great one against Rutgers, and that one didn't work out very well. So, I think I think it's the flow of a game. I think that, the Penn State situation was and looking back, I mean, they made really hard shots. The Jones kid pulls up from 30 in transition and give them credit. But I don't like slow starts. You guys know that I long for productivity off the bench, but we can't have it at the expense of a slow start. And but I'm not making too much out of it, Doug, right now.
So Curbello's been getting a few more minutes, seemed to make some runs and be a little more efficient offensively when he's in there. Is there a point where you look at it and say you're gonna throw him out there in the starting lineup?
Oh, I don't know yet. I don't know. I mean, the Curbello's runs were. There's no doubt he's impactful for us. Again, you know, he was able to stay foul free and stay on the floor. And you know, I tell our guys all the time, it's not about who starts, it's about who finishes. And you know, you got to feel your way through that. Who's playing well in games, you know, and you know, Jacob was great the other night. So he got a lot more minutes. You know, and we've got that luxury, and we're building that luxury. So again, we'll see those young guys keep growing and getting better, and you know, I hope with that comes a level of consistency where they can all play substantial minutes and not be worried about foul trouble and mistakes.
Last one, Coach, and Adam seems to be going through some growing pains, some freshman stuff on the court. What have you seen out of him, out of Miller, and what does he need to do to kind of get on the right track?
Oh, he's been great. I mean, yesterday after practice, I mean, he spent another hour plus with coaches going over film, understanding scouting report, assignments, you know, and that's a huge adjustment for freshmen. They have never seen a scouting report. They go into most games in high school. They don't even know who the other team's best shooter is, let alone watch film and be dialed into a 6-7 page scouting report and assignments. And you know, Adam's very, very cerebral. He's a very smart kid. And, you know, it's just now finding and understanding the place on the floor and those things. But his hustle, he's on the floor for loose balls. He's running hard. And he gets closer every single game and every day.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay. Alessandra, go ahead. You can go, and then Andy after.
My question, I guess after tomorrow, you guys are going to have a week off from games. Just what do you guys want to see tomorrow before you have that week off?
Well, you know, one of the great challenges here is we have a mandatory 3-day off period that the NCAA, since we're playing Christmas, we've had to take off. In most years, we've taken off the 22nd through the 25th, and not had been able to do anything. So our guys will still be here. They'll do some voluntary work on their own. But again, it will be nice to practice. This is our third game this week. There's been very little us time in that. It's been a lot more of our opponents. We've had a lot of travel. We want to make sure that we're really focused on ourselves a few days, because once we get going after this week off, they come every 2 days again, and it's fast and furious. So we've got to get dialed in and continue to grow ourselves after this Indiana game.
All right, I guess I'll slide in here, Coach. In the vein of Christmas, you kind of talked about that the players knew what they were getting into when they opted into this season. But I mean, that's a mature decision to spend Christmas away from your family as 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. So what does it mean to you that they're this bought into the season, that they want to play this bad, and they're spending holidays away from their family?
Yeah, you can't understand the sacrifice that these guys have gone through. And I'll be very, very honest, and I'm going to tell him today, I'm so proud of Georgi Vashanishvili and what he has had to endure, not going home. A Big Ten tournament, everybody else scattered but him. Benjamin was here, hasn't been home either, but Benjamin had a family of a football player in the Bloomington area that kind of took him in. Georgie was here isolated by himself. And this hasn't been a true college experience for our guys. And they're not out socially. They're not meeting anybody in classes. You talk about challenging and different and difficult, and they're vibrant, and they're in the prime of their life in terms of wanting to enjoy people and things. And now we're telling them, come to practice, go back to your room, and don't leave, and don't talk to anybody or see anybody else. And you think of the commitment that these guys are giving up, and it doesn't matter whether you're local or whether you're Georgie, but all they get is a phone call. They get a maybe they get a Zoom. But man, I could not be prouder. And we're going to have a little Christmas celebration tonight after practice. And one of the things that I couldn't think of a better group of people other than my own family, who I'm blessed. I got my family. I'm blessed, but I could not think of a better group of people. And people, I'm not saying players, I'm saying people that I would rather be with than my staff and this group of players. Because it speaks volumes to their character, and I feel very, very strongly about their commitment to wanting to do this and pull this season off. And I'm very, very proud. That shows tremendous maturity on a group of guys to sacrifice and commit to want to do what they have a passion to do.
Thanks, Coach. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, that'll wrap us up for today. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Merry Christmas.